All right, so we are here with an updated deck. Uh, Saturday didn't go so well. Tournament 3 certainly didn't go well. We went 1-2 drops, so we're back to the drawing board. I think part of the issue was the reliance on cards like Strike and stuff like that, and I think I just overvalued how much that would really give me. So we're going to go with a different version. Shoutouts to Landon for giving me the idea. We'll just go over the deck really quick. There's not much to explain. You've got your 3 Ice, 3 X'd, 3 Sword, Node, Cross, Plugin, and Plasma Hole. Again, that's all standard. 3 Bonfire. Instead of 3 Desires, though, we're going to 3 Upstart Goblins. So one of the things that Landon had suggested was considering trying Upstart Goblin. Don't know how it's going to go. Just because, while, yes, it's not as powerful as Desires, which does suck, because, I love that card, Upstart does give you a longer grind game because it's not banishing your pieces. And I've noticed that all of my losses have come down to bricking, really, or Desires just banishing all the pieces when I've already bricked. So we're going to try that for tomorrow. Then for the non-engine, we have 3 Ash, 3 Fulos, 2 Perulia, 2 Ogre, 2 Valor, the 1 Nibiru, 3 Imperm, and then we're going back. I hate playing this card, but we have 3 Crossout Designator, and then we're going to do 2 Triple Tactics Talent. So this is the other reason why I'm okay with not playing Desires, is because I do have the talents to sort of act like a Pot of Greed. So this gives you a lot of consistency. And I've also noticed that most of the games that I won recently have been when I've drawn talent, so I think that this is just, continuing to prove why I always say that card should probably just be in your deck if you can get away with playing it. For the extra deck, we have 2 Duo Drive, 2 Detonator, the 1 Abyss Dweller, Ixaton Knight, Light Dragon, Full Armored Utopic Ray Lancer, 41, Dagaris, Tornado Dragon, Aggregator, Typhon. This is one change that's being made, is I'm playing Zeus again. I don't think it'll come up that often, but I think it does make sense just to have it there as like a utility option, just in case it does randomly seem useful. And then, of course, the Donner. That's all very standard. Side deck, we've got 3 Lancia, 3 Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansions, the 1 Perulia, 3 Metal Tronus, 3 Judgments, the 1 Skill Drain, and then the 1 D-Barrier, just so I have it as a cross-out target. I know it doesn't seem as good to only have 1 D-Barrier, because, like when you're going first, it's obviously insane. But I figured between the D-Barrier, the Skill Drain, and the 3 Judgments when I'm going first, as well as stuff like Metal Tronus, I just have such an ignorant deck that I could probably get away with it. We'll have to see. This is the preliminary list I'm going with. There's going to be changes to this one and then Tournament 2, because Tournament 3 is actually going to be a 3v3 for crossover breakers. So we gotta make sure we're performing well, because our 2 teammates are definitely not gonna want to be carrying me all day long. So this is the initial deck. Let's go and see how it goes. Round 2 is done. We are 1-1. We lost round 1 to the Bestial Fiendsmith deck. That was really rough. We just got outgrinded, and then so we won game 1, and then game 2 I got outgrinded pretty hard. Couldn't do too much to his full setup and stuff, and then game 3 I just hard bricked, so couldn't do anything. And then I just won round 2 against Malice with the Sky Striker cards. Game 1 I opened up pretty insane, or at least pretty decently, as you guys can see. Ended up grinding out that game, and then game 2 he opened up with pretty much everything to just keep pushing, but I ended up using Ogre later. And he needed 1 more extender, couldn't do it, but then he managed to use Thrust for D-Barrier, which sucked because I forgot to side it into my copy of D-Barrier from a crossout, which I, of course, drew, and I thought I was going to be pretty boned, but then we were running the numbers and realized I could just win by just summoning 5 Ryziels and attacking per game. So that was a quick 1-1. We have 2 rounds left, I believe, and we'll have to see how that goes. All right, we are out. 1-2 drop, not good. The last 2 tournaments have not been very good at all. Just lost to Malice. Won game 1 through grinding, and then lost game 2 to D-Barrier. which, I mean, that happens. And then game 3, he opened Shifter. I still ended on Duo Drive, Detonator, with Plasma Hole face down and Cross in the field, hoping that would be enough, and it unfortunately wasn't. He top decked Eclipse, and I didn't have any non-engine, so I just got quickly OTK'd. We're gonna have to change a couple cards, I think. I didn't really like the Upstart Goblins. They were cool, but they just did not, like, I think the problem is that I just wasn't seeing enough of, like, the power cards. And weirdly enough, like, I really missed Droll. So we're gonna go back to the drawing board and see what we come up with for tomorrow, because Saturday I have to have this list locked in, because it's the 3v3, so can't afford to mess up that. All right, so last night and Saturday before that didn't go well at all. We're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I think we're gonna have to really take this deck and just make it like bare bones, super basic Ryzeal. I may try the Fiendsmith stuff. Unfortunately, I only have 2 engravers, so that's a little bit worse. But that might be something worth considering too if Pure doesn't work again tonight. So we're gonna change up some stuff, and I'll go over those changes really quick. And then we're gonna get ready for locals. All right, we're just gonna jump right in. The deck is basically the same skeleton with just some extra changes to the side deck, extra deck, and then some of the non-engine slots. So I'll just breeze through this really quick. So you have 3 Ice, 3 Xed, 3 Sword, Node, Cross, Plugin, and Plasma Hole. That's all very standard. None of that needs an explanation. And then we're doing the 3 Desires and 3 Bonfires. I know yesterday I played Upstart Goblin, but I want to try Desires again over that, because while Upstart Goblin did mean that I wasn't banishing my extra names, I really found that the lack of the extra card was affecting my ability to kind of push through their plays enough. It also just meant that, like, top decking an Upstart Goblin means that you're not really doing much. Top decking a Desires means that you could potentially just be back in the game. So we'll have to see how that change back goes. And then the non-engine has changed a decent amount. So there's 3 Ash, 3 Veiler now instead of 2. I'll explain that in a second. 3 Imperm, and then we're back down to the 2 Fulos, 2 Perulia, but now we're up to 2 Nibiru and 2 Ghost Ogre. So there's no Droll this time, but I wanted to make sure that I have a good spread of cards, and I figure I wanted to draw into the non-hard ones per turn ones the most, so that's why you see the 3/3 Imperm and Veiler. Also being able to hit Duo Drive and Malice cards is obviously really good. Ogre is insane in the mirror match. Nibiru is really solid into Malice, and oftentimes when paired with any other hand traps is really good into the mirror match as well. So there's that. If I decided to last second switch out Droll, I think it would probably be for 1 Ogre, because Ogre has the least applications overall, and it's kind of even with Droll in that sense. But I really like just having the spread of hand traps, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then I am still playing the crossout designators, but now we're doing Call by the Grave and 1 talent again. The talent being there just as a crossout target mostly, for when they try to counter me when they go second. But I really did like talents a lot, so it might actually come back in over Call by the Grave, which I feel like might not be that incredible. For the extra deck, we have 2 Duo Drives, 2 Detonators, Abyss Dweller, Exciton Knight, Utopic Ray Lancer. This is one change. I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep it in, but I'm going for Gaga Cowboy. I noticed my rounds were getting really close to time, and that had me a little nervous. So Gaga Cowboy is in for that. Light Dragonite Ignister, Baguska, Dagaris, Tornado Dragon, Aggregator, Typhon, Nozeus. That's what the Gaga is in for, and then Donner. This slot is really just kind of whatever, but I think Cowboy might be the best thing for now. We will have to see. And then the side deck, I am still siding 3 Bell and 3 Lancias for Malice, just because I think that the deck is powerful enough that I need to respect it enough locally. So I have the 6 slots there. Also, Bell makes my lab matchup better, and that's also a deck that is not necessarily uncommon in my area. And with the 3v3 coming up tomorrow, I want to make sure that I have the ability to play into lab if necessary. And then I'm playing the third of each Molcharmy just so I have them. 2 Metaltronus now instead of 3. The third one was taken out for the second talent. Also, Metaltronus, its applications are a little weird. It's obviously insane in the mirror match, but its applications outside of that are very kind of hit or miss, so I wanted to have another card that was just really good in general. These could also all become Book of Eclipse. That definitely wouldn't be unreasonable. That was ultimately what beat me last night, so that might be consideration, and then I can side that in and have that both as a board breaker, but then a cross-out target. And then there's Duster, and then 3 D-Barriers as well. We're back up to the full 3, just to have it as often as I can. Just to respect the mirror match and stuff like that. So this is the deck that we're going to go with tonight. Like I said, there might be a couple of changes. Like these might be, like the Metaltronuses and Talent might become Book of Eclipse. And Gaga Cowboy could become the Photon. It could also be Zeus. It could be a second aggregator. And then the other big change that could happen last second would be either Nibiru or Ghost Ogre for a single droll, just for coverage of Cross-Out Designator. So that's the deck that we're going with tonight. We'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully we do significantly better than last night. We're not looking for another 1-2 drop kind of night. Let's see how it goes. Just finished a really rough round 1. Played against the mirror match with local player Mark, who beat me 2-1. It's the 3v3, so prizing is pretty darn good, and we want to make sure we're doing well. Unfortunately, we ended up losing the entire round. Our player A is on Ryzeal, I'm on Ryzeal, and then our player C is on Ritual Beast, and we ended up getting paired against the team of like the 3 best players there, which sucks. Game 1, I opened up pretty abysmally after winning the die roll. I just opened like all non-engine and then Desires. I activate Desires, and I draw another Ash, another Veiler. Can't do anything. Game 2, I end up winning thanks to Metaltronus and Imperm on top of my standard like interaction with Detonator and Cross. And then game 3, I end up just getting outgrinded, and I drew Perulia for turn, going second, which sucks. And then I drew Perulia on the following turn again. So I had 2 Perulias and couldn't do anything with it, and then I subject to Cross-Out Designator with nothing left and lost. And then player A was playing Ryzeal, and he ended up making a misplay, not clearing the Chaos Angel when it was protected, or when it was no longer being protected thanks to Imperm, which really sucked. And so we are 0-1. It's only 3 rounds of Swiss because there's only like 7 or 8 teams, so we gotta win out the next 2, and then we can play in top 4 and hopefully get some prizes. Unfortunately, this week's episode, much like the way last week's episode ended, is not ending on a high note. We are 0-2, so we dropped out because we could not make top 4. We ended up losing again to mirror matches. This time I played against Fiendsmith Ryzeal. I won very easily game 1. He just couldn't do anything, push through everything. Game 2, I couldn't push through D-Barrier and like all the Fiendsmith stuff. And then game 3, I lost to the Fiendsmith stuff, being able to help mitigate the impact of D-Barriers. So I might have to look at the Fiendsmith version of the deck. I don't particularly like it, but it might be worth considering given how poorly I've been doing with Pure lately, and we're trying to see consistent positive results. So that's going to do it for this week. It's 2 not so great weeks in a row, which is unfortunate. It is what it is, and we'll have to see how we do after the holidays.